tack did they end up on? Copy that. Thank you. All right, so continuing down the southbound side of the 5 freeway here, getting a little more information. This is possibly a murder suspect. We originally had heard attempted murder, may actually be a murder suspect. These are preliminary notes that we're getting, not confirmed, but still a serious criminal behind the wheel of this Kia Soul. LAPD in full control of this pursuit. They are the primary, right there behind them is the primary unit. They are the primary agency, and they are now no longer getting ready to give this over to CHP. CHP is monitoring. They are continuing, though. Got a laser at the left here. Ah, nice. Where's Sheriff? Okay. Easy. Can you just confirm, Josh? That is still. Did he switch over to the 10? Is he on the 10 now, or is that still the 5? He got on the 10. The suspect is in the middle of the East LA interchange. From this angle, hard to tell if he's gotten off the 5 or is now on the 10. It looks like he may be on the 10 freeway. Which, yeah, I see that. Suspect has transitioned over to the 10 freeway. Going to get a little closer here as we come out of the Dodger TFR. We'll have another good glimpse of him right here in just a minute. Once again, if you're just joining us on abc7.com and our 24/7 streaming channels, Chris Christie up over a high-speed pursuit now, LAPD, with a half a dozen black and whites on the tail of an alleged murder suspect through the East LA interchange now, southbound, or I should say now westbound on the, or eastbound on the 10 freeway, right? He's coming this way, right? Eastbound? Eastbound on the 10 freeway. He just transitioned off of the 5 moments ago. LAPD right on his tail here. He has already struck at least one spike strip, and the left rear tire is already, or I should say the right rear tire is already down to the rim. So he's had a little bit of a hard time controlling the vehicle at times, but for the most part he appears to have regained control and is getting used to driving without that right rear tire. This is one of our best views yet of that driver. Hard to make out a really good description, but he's holding onto that wheel, and there you get a really good shot of the damage on the right side of the vehicle. It looks like he sideswiped something either during this pursuit or at some point earlier. In any event, you can see the condition of that right wheel is really, really limited. So he's now weaving around traffic here. A little bit more volume to contend with, but still LAPD doing a good job trying to limit the traffic behind him and closing in on him, maybe just a few car lengths. I mean, they really have continued to apply a lot of pressure here. And they haven't really given him a wide berth. He's just kind of taken them for a joyride as he continues on the 60 freeway now. Eastbound 60, passing Indiana now as you see him coming towards us, making his way into the San Gabriel Valley now. LAPD continuing this pursuit past Downey Road. Holding steady in the middle of the freeway here, doing his best to maintain control of the vehicle, which has already given him a real problem, especially after hitting a spike strip. He is on 3 good tires as far as we could tell, but that 4th tire is making it difficult to control the steering of this Kia Soul, continuing at about 60 miles per hour on the 60 freeway, coming eastbound here, passing Valley Boulevard. Over to the shoulder there, starting to smoke a little bit, kicking up a little dust, and again, having a hard time maintaining good control here, but he's swerved back over to the middle of the freeway here, just kind of riding the paint there, right in the middle of the freeway, trying to drive in a straight line under the overpasses here. You can see every time he takes either his eye off the road or his hands off the wheel, it does not want to cooperate. The steering of this SUV is not behaving normally by any stretch of the imagination, and he is wrestling with it a bit to overcompensate for that right missing tire in the rear. So he's doing about 70 miles per hour now, eastbound 60, coming up on Atlantic Boulevard, refusing to pull over again. This is believed to be a murder suspect behind the wheel of this car. Is that a CHP cruiser right there? That's what I thought. Looks like CHP may be trying to start to block off some of these entrance ramps. Perhaps that's what we're seeing here. In any event, LAPD, still the primary agency here as the suspect continues eastbound down the 60 freeway, approaching Garfield Avenue at about 60 to 70 miles per hour. You're getting another good look here at the driver's hands there on the steering wheel. At times he's a little more animated. Right now he's just kind of trying to keep that vehicle going in a straight line. That's the goal right now, because if he does anything too sudden, you can see him start to fishtail a little bit or even start to lose control, given the nature of that. Look, all the rubber's gone actually on that right rear wheel. We'll go ahead and zoom in there, but it's all aluminum at this point, or I should say it's all steel there. It's just a solid rim grinding into the pavement there, and the tire is gone. Continuing down the 60, slowing down maybe a little bit. We'll go ahead and throw up our real-time speed tracker. You can see he's now doing about 40 miles per hour, so he's dramatically dropped down in speed quite a bit. There does appear to be a cell phone in his hand. You can kind of catch the glimmer from a certain angle. It's hard to say whether he's on it or just holding on to it or what he's doing with it, but in any event, he does have a cell phone, and he is cruising eastbound on the 60 freeway at about 40 to 50 miles per hour now, past Montebello. Coming up on Paramount Boulevard, LAPD with 6 units behind him. Weaving over again, over to the right, passing an exit there. That's Paramount, passing Paramount Boulevard. Again, he's had plenty of opportunities to get off the freeway, but he has really shown a willingness to just stay on the freeway now for a bulk of this pursuit, or at least as long as we've been over it. It all started in the San Fernando Valley, and we are now firmly in the San Gabriel Valley, covering a lot of real estate here as he continues eastbound on the 60 freeway. Coming up next exit is going to be San Gabriel Boulevard. Nope. Cool. Sounds good. Uh-oh. Swerving back over. The vehicle wants to drive left, and there he is, bouncing off the center divider, and he is either, I don't know what's going on. He is not showing any signs of trying to steer this vehicle anymore. It's almost driving itself, it looked like, for a second there. He's now blacked out the vehicle, and he's having a real hard time keeping it straight, but he just kind of bounced right off the center divider like a gutter ball, and then back over to the right, and now he's kind of back in the middle of the freeway here, like he took his eye off the road or his hands off the wheel, and once again, the vehicle wanting to drive left when he is trying to struggle with it. Again, there is no tire on that right rear side, so he's on 3 decent tires, but one is completely gone, and now he is completely blacked out the vehicle. Eastbound 60, approaching Peck Road now. Getting over to the right again. And here come the headlights. Headlights are now back on. Getting closer to the 605 here. We'll see if he commits to the 60 or thinks about getting off at the 605. And he's staying on the 60. Passing through the Puente Hills area here, continuing eastbound 60 freeway, once again turning his headlights back off in the dark here. LAPD's airship really providing most of the illumination here as he is really driving in the dark blind, especially as he struggles with this vehicle. It certainly appears to me that this is likely going to end in some kind of a crash with the way he is having trouble with this vehicle and just kind of showing some lack of endurance here as that vehicle wants to steer in the opposite direction. He's still doing about 60 miles per hour, but LAPD is ready for this to come to an end whenever he decides to either give up or spin out or potentially crash into something. We don't want to see that, but certainly by my eye it appears that may very well be in this guy's future, whether it's an inanimate object or something worse. He is continuing to have a hard time staying in one lane. Once again, we're looking at the driver's side of the vehicle as he continues to travel eastbound on the 60 freeway, refusing to pull over. Again, this is a wanted murder suspect, allegedly, behind the wheel of this Kia Soul that's already experienced some degree of damage, has potentially already struck a spike strip. All indications are that that right rear tire has struck a spike strip in the San Fernando Valley earlier on in this pursuit. Now it looks like, once again, getting all the way back over to the right, playing with that shoulder, turning around on the freeway, clearly steering the vehicle in the opposite direction, doing a U-turn, going the wrong way on the 60 freeway. Now going westbound on the eastbound side of the freeway. This suspect is out of control, putting many lives in danger. Now again, doing another U-turn, deciding to go back on the correct side of the freeway here. CHP and LAPD both behind him now as they try and tame this suspect and prevent any innocent motorists from getting in trouble here or getting hurt by this suspect, who clearly has no regard for anybody's safety, definitely no regard for those law enforcement officers or even his own safety. By all accounts, this suspect does not care what happens to him tonight. He is just desperate to get away and escape whatever problems he's dealing with. But he has just turned his lights back on. LAPD and CHP trying to now tame the suspect and keep him going this direction. But they had to create a traffic break there, and thankfully, looks like they actually had a little bit of a traffic break established. They were almost prepared for him to make that U-turn as he really pulled a sudden wild move there and decided better of it and turned around and is now going the correct way on the 60 on the eastbound side of the 60 freeway. But that was scary for a minute there. Always very difficult to see somebody going the wrong way, but on the freeway especially, those could end in disaster. Copy that. Eastbound 60, passing Hacienda Boulevard, approaching Roland Heights. Veering over to the right again. He does have an opportunity here to get off, but I don't think he'll take it. A little better shot of the driver now through that driver's window, which is rolled down. Once again, the vehicle wants to steer to the right. He's struggling to keep it left. Veering all the way over to the shoulder, now back all the way over to the other shoulder almost. Still holding steady at 60 miles per hour as he struggles to maintain control of the vehicle. LAPD behind him with a little bit of help, a little bit of backup from CHP.
Suspects are streaming these things as they are the object of a pursuit. That is something that's crossed my mind numerous times, whether we are feeding them perhaps some information that they should not have, or alerting them to things up ahead that they should not know. So that's why we're going to try to keep that sort of information off the air. This is something.
There goes that front left tire. Yep. There she goes. Now he's on a front right tire and a rear left tire. And of course, we're always delicate with what we do convey over the air. And for that specific reason, as you mentioned, Mark, because you just never know. And sometimes it's more obvious than others. This almost is almost a clear sign to me that he may be listening to us on that cell phone in his hand. Didn't appear to me like he was communicating with anybody. He was just holding it in his hand. So certainly a good possibility he is streaming. And if you are streaming, go ahead and pull over, because this is not going to end well. With that said, CHP still right on his tail as he gets all the way over to the left lane, still doing about 45 miles per hour. It's not going to really give him much more than that, especially this vehicle, but he's really, really close to that. This is what he does. He weaves all the way back over and starts to get distracted, and he's just been, you know, all over the place with this thing. But they have that traffic backed off, so he's got the entire freeway to himself now as he continues down the 60 freeway.
And there's the good shot of the right rear tire, completely gone, and the damage associated. Look at that. It looks like, you know, looks like it definitely it looks like it sideswiped something. So the right rear and the left front tires are no more. And so he's got rims in both of those, and so the question is whether he can control it, and how well or can he control this vehicle, and how much longer does he think this is going to go? Because it's pretty clear that the car's not going to let you get much faster than you're going. Eventually you're going to run out of gas, and that'll be that. So it would save everyone a lot of grief if this person were in fact to stop, pull over, and give up, as you mentioned. In the meantime, of course, the CHP and the LAPD, if we can presume they're further back, are doing everything they can to bring this to a safe ending for everyone, really. They want everyone to be able to walk away from the end of this, the suspect in custody, all the officers and the pursuing officers safely get to go home, and anybody in the public who might run afoul of this would be you know, safe as well, so that nobody gets hurt. But again, this is a murder suspect. That's what's been described to us by the various police agencies that this person is suspected of homicide, and as a result, they're going to stay on this person's tail until this is over. There will be no backing off. There will be no allowances for the danger of the pursuit. They will do this until the bitter end.
And possibly armed. Now, we don't know that for sure. They were discussing it. But if he is armed, or if they have any kind of confirmation, that will also limit their tactics. Like a pit maneuver would be very unlikely in the event that they can confirm he does have a weapon, or at least a gun. If it's a different weapon, it changes the dynamics. But in any event, that will play into their calculus, and it is believed he may be possibly armed, as far as we could tell. He's still turning that dome light on and off, continuing eastbound on the 60 freeway here, coming up on Vineyard Avenue. He's all the way over to the right here. What worries me, as you were talking, Mark, is that if he does become desperate, I fear, or if this vehicle starts to give out on him, or if he starts running low on gas, I fear we may see what he pulled a few minutes ago, where he turns this thing around. If he's desperate enough, and the word is that he may be suicidal, that is, again, unconfirmed, but that is the traffic that we're hearing, then we've already seen him make some really desperate attempts that could have put lives in danger, and we could very well see that again if he feels the pressure. For the first time now, it looks like he's getting off the freeway, getting off at Vineyard Avenue, right past a tow truck there, and getting off at the exit. Now things are going to get much more delicate for California Highway Patrol. We are in the city of Ontario. Ontario PD will be monitoring this pursuit. I'm sure they already are.
Let's see
will
if
they
he can
get
make the
involved?
turn.
Only if CHP. He makes the turn at a high rate of speed here, and just barely there. Remarkable control, considering he's only on 2 tires diagonally. The front right and the rear left are still traveling, or allowing this vehicle to travel. And he made that turn pretty quick there. Still not breaking any speed records as he gets back on to surface streets here. But we'll see if the behavior changes here. Again, Ontario PD will be ready to help out here if they are asked to. But CHP, as of this moment, is still the primary agency here. So he's westbound on Vineyard Avenue, now going the wrong way, or south, I'm sorry, south. Is he going south? South on Vineyard. He's going south over the double yellow lines, going the wrong way in the middle of Vineyard Avenue. Thankfully, there is very light traffic, almost no traffic on this road. We are in Ontario proper here as he continues this pursuit. LAP, or I should say CHP, did get off the freeway with him. We'll go ahead and widen that just a little bit, Josh. I want to see how far back they are, because right now you can see that LAPD airship is still shining the light, and they have fallen back a little bit. They are traveling at a safe distance with him as he meanders across the entire road here on Vineyard Avenue, now going southbound on the northbound side of the street.
All right, and so continuing to go against traffic, continuing to act in a desperate way. At least now he's in the center divider, struggling to maintain control of this early model Kia Soul. Is he getting back on the freeway there? Where are we looking?
Another turn that's going to be an eastbound turn onto Riverside Drive. I don't think this will put him on the freeway, but he is slowing down. He's on Riverside Drive. The vehicle is either giving out, or is it my imagination? Is he just slowing? He's coming down to a crawl almost. You can see him applying the brakes here, and he may be out of gas. We'll see what his next move is here. Maybe he's just contemplating his next move, but he has come to a near stop on Riverside Drive.
And South Whispering Lakes
and
Lane. Is this a residential area? I see a business there, like a mini mall there to the left. It looks like residences behind that sound wall there. If you live in this area, you should make sure your doors and windows are locked. And in the event of a foot bail, something that we try to mention with every pursuit when they go through a residential neighborhood, just in case, because Chris, as you and I have seen so many times, sometimes they will foot bail and end up going into or near someone's home or through their backyard, and it just increases the danger for everyone. Where's he heading now? And wow. Looks like the
Well,
wheels
he was
spin.
on Riverside Drive there. There was a lot of farmland and nurseries to his right, and then residential to his left. He just made a left turn into that residential neighborhood now, and so now he is going to be on narrower streets. Again, a lot more houses in this area. CHP right behind him, LAPD right above him. Thankfully, he's traveling relatively slowly, and I think he is just thinking and trying to figure out what his next move is here, whether he's actually going to dump the vehicle and run for it. I don't know about that, but it's possible. I just think he is buying his last few moments of freedom. He likely understands that this is going to be the end of it for him. However, you know, considering how desperate he is, he could certainly do something that really puts people in danger. And that's my biggest fear, is that if he does anything so drastic to try and get out of this predicament, something so foolish that somebody could get hurt here. Now he's going to make these random turns in a neighborhood that he's almost certainly not familiar with. Don't know that for sure, but most likely making these turns up as he goes along. These all appear to be random so far. A lot of right turns. I can tell you that CHP is right behind him, and LAPD is still with them in the back. CHP is the one pursuing, but LAPD is ready in the back to take him into custody when this comes to an end. That tells me that this homicide, whatever crimes have been committed here, most likely happened in the city of LA. For LAPD to continue to dedicate resources to this pursuit, follow these CHP units out here to Ontario, and to keep their helicopter overhead the way we have seen. LAPD has a vested interest in this suspect. We're seeing some sparks fly off the vehicle. Again, worth reminding our viewers here, he has 2 tires that have come flying off of this vehicle after a spike strip earlier in the evening. He appears to have 2 tires that are still cooperating. The front right tire and the left rear tire are still rolling this vehicle along, though, but anytime that rim hits the pavement, you can see those sparks starting to fly.
Wow.
In a cul-de-sac. He's in a cul-de-sac. He's cornered himself in a cul-de-sac at Whispering Lakes Court and Brookside Drive. We've already seen him go head-to-head with officers before. He's going to do it again. He's going to split the difference, go right in between these officers. They're going to box him in. Unusual, but they will do it. They will box him in. An armed and dangerous suspect now face-to-face with CHP, head-to-head, as this suspect comes to a complete stop on Whispering Lakes Court. CHP boxing him in from all angles as he's against that parked car. CHP trying to avoid any crossfire situation here, getting all of their officers on the front side of the vehicle. You can see all of them rushing into position here as they try and surround this suspect, limiting any options he may have had, and a very unorthodox move under these circumstances, and especially for this agency. So CHP boxing him in head-to-head here as they try and now execute a felony stop at the end of this pursuit with nowhere for him to go.
Got nowhere to go from the in the vehicle. It's over as far as him trying to go somewhere.
Putting in reverse.
All he is now,
he's trying to reverse the Kia into that into that CHP vehicle behind him. He may start playing bumper cars here, Mark, and this is again what I was very afraid of. You know, they are in a position now where if he attempts any of the behavior that we've seen earlier on in this pursuit, they will be forced, or they will be put in a position where they will be urged to use force if any of their lives are threatened. This is the most dangerous part of any pursuit, and this one is no exception. One gunfire flying through that windshield.
A bevy of California Highway Patrol officers surrounding this vehicle. It is boxed in. There's literally no way that this car can physically leave this location. You see officers, guns drawn, lethal weapons pointed at this suspect in this vehicle. A suspect, someone who has been described by law enforcement as being a murder suspect.
Vehicle.
Driver's
side door is open. He's holding his cell phone. He's hands in the air, holding, I believe, a cell phone away from officers. He appears to be ready to give up. A desperate individual who appears to be ready to give this up, but he needs to comply with their instructions. Otherwise, we're in trouble. He is now walking away from the suspects. It appears to be a man. Could you get a better view, Mark? I could not tell for sure.
From what we can tell, it appears to be a male.
Okay.
And he is now, the good news is he's
now
complying. He's proned out. It makes them nervous when he moves his hands towards his pockets.
It looks like there was a non-lethal weapon fired in his direction.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like maybe he was struck with either a rubber bullet or something. I think he was struck with a rubber bullet, Mark, just a few moments ago. And now you see him proned out on the sidewalk there.
All right. Well, it is good news that apparently this is coming to an end, and it's coming to an end in a peaceful way, given the nature of the charges. But it's not over yet. You see them advancing with that shield, that tactical shield. You see all these officers with their guns drawn. You see assault rifle officers carrying assault rifles, checking the car. They're taking him into custody now. It may have been very key, as you pointed out. He was on the phone. He was on the phone with someone, and we hope and presume that whoever it was he was on the phone with helped him make the decision to give up and not try to engage officers in what would have been a futile effort to try to get away or to fight. It would not have worked. It could have ended in his demise. We have seen no sign of a weapon yet. Typically, when they go through a car, they'll clear it. And if they find a weapon, they bring it out and they put it on the hood. They make sure it's empty. They make sure it's safe. And now the suspect is in custody. Again, this was a murder suspect. And this was somebody that had been first contacted by LA police in the San Fernando Valley. And the information we're getting from that video we had at the very beginning of this pursuit was that it was in Panorama City at the parking lot of the El Super store that was at Parthenia and Tobias in Panorama City. That was where officers, we believe, first made contact with that suspect, the video you saw earlier. And now this appears to have been successfully ended by the California Highway Patrol. They're the lead agency, at least in the pursuit part of this. Investigating agency, the LAPD, a murder suspect now under arrest, taken into custody after a brief standoff in a residential neighborhood. It is Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock. We are sorry for being a little